What's going on, guys? It's Frito here for your Overwatch. Yiska, the renowned journalist, posted the patch notes that are going to be coming out for October 24th to GG Recon. Yiska's never been wrong before. While perhaps with some feedback, Blizzard may not put the patch through in its entirety as it's posted here, but I would suspect that it would. In the article, there's a little bit more political talk about it. Is this a good thing to do right before the playoffs? I'm not going to get any of that. Instead, let's take a look at how the game is going to be changing. Change number 1, Sombra hack ability lockout duration has been reduced from 1.75 to 1.5 seconds. Hacked enemies are no longer valid targets for hacking for the duration of the effect, so that means you can't chain hack. You'll have to give them a chance to fight back for a moment and do the full animation during a small window that they have abilities to either maybe even block the line of sight of it, like Sigma putting up his shield, for example. That offers a lot more interactions for especially tanks, I'd say. But the big nerf is the hacked damage multiplier has been reduced from 40 to 25%. Now, I'm gonna guess that Sombra will still feel like she can hack and spray down a squishy target like Zenyatta, for example. But against targets with smaller, more slender hitboxes, maybe she'll start to struggle, and especially up against tanks, this is a massive breakpoint changer. There's a lot of tanks that were hard getting gate kept by Sombra, and now you're gonna feel like you also will need a Zenyatta Discord orb, I think, in order to burst them down quickly with the disable. Even with all these nerfs though, I still think Sombra has a lot of good interactions for the game, a lot of important timings she can hit, and while I think there's a few sleeper picks in the game that are pretty good at combating her, Soldier and Reaper, for example, have a lot of their power in their base kit, in their weapon. They don't mind getting hacked so much, but a ton of characters certainly do. I think it's likely Sombra will remain a decent pick until Tracer gets significant buffs. Next is Genji, whose maximum ammo has been reduced from 30 to 24. Remember, he fires 3 shurikens at a time, so this is 2 volleys. But more importantly, the damage has been reduced from 29 to 27. 3 shurikens used to do 87 damage, now they'll do 81. 3 headshots was 174, now 162. So that means triple headshot and melee no longer kills a squishy, but triple headshot and a swift strike will still do the trick. With less ammo, that means he'll need to reload more often, and less damage overall means his poke and Dragon Blade farm rate will go down. I've seen some players say this will dumpster Genji. I think that's not going to be the case. I don't think his playstyle is so make or break on this 6 to 12 damage. So much of his play is combining and chaining together swift strikes. Now, obviously, if he doesn't do enough damage in order to get an elimination, he can't do that. But especially as they nerfed D.Va's booster damage, I was almost wondering if they were going to nerf Genji's swift strike damage. But seeing that they went this way, I think it means more that they're worried about his ability at higher tiers, because they're going to land more damage with Genji with the attack, whereas more average players get more value, I think, out of Swift Strike and the Blade especially. My opinion is this won't change his power significantly. I think secretly, one of the things keeping Genji in check this whole time has been Zarya. Great tip for you Zarya players out there right now before she gets nerfed in the next patch note. Zarya is one of the strongest characters in the game up against Genji, because her damage gets to a scary level. Bubbles can interrupt his dive targets, potentially even counter his blade. Yes, Genji's power is going down, but I think in metas where there isn't a Zarya, Genji gets stronger. The Zarya nerfs are as follows. Barrier duration has been reduced from 2.5 to 2 seconds. Either way, that still feels like they last forever, but 2.5 was super forever, because you don't want to charge the Zarya, but you also don't want to die to the thing that she's bubbling, whether it's her or a teammate. 2.5 seconds was way too long in my opinion, and the cooldown also gains a second, which I think is important because oftentimes I hear the fake call out that Zarya used both bubbles, but unless they're immediately together at the same time, likely it was already on a few second cooldown, and the window of time to actually punish her when she doesn't have a bubble, what might have been just a few seconds, right? Because she'll use one. It lasted for so many seconds. It'll begin its cooldown, right? So it's actually like she sort of got a third one snuck in. But with them lasting a shorter duration, that's just going to reduce how much space she occupies on the map. The suffocating effect of Zarya bubbles being all over you and having a no-win situation will be lessened. Perhaps this means on average, the Zarya energy is lower as they're easier to avoid, won't be up as much. I still think she's an amazing ranked character in general though, because she soft resets so good, and Overwatch 2 has a huge soft reset metagame. The push game mode in a nutshell is just constant soft resets, and when you're playing with random teammates, having the flexibility to either tank more yourself or benefit from their feeding is just an amazing playstyle. So I'm curious if this will knock her out of S tier for the higher tiers. And the last change for the October 24th patch is to DVa. Fusion cannon spread has been increased from 3.5 to 3.75, and the booster's impact damage has been reduced from 25 down to 15. So the top tier tank meta has been sort of working like this. Winston was incredibly weak to DVa, and perhaps with the fusion cannon spread increasing, she won't be as devastating up against him, or at least need to be closer than before to do the same effective damage. I also think against support characters particularly, she could really just seek and destroy looking at one. Like a homing missile would easily run one over. We're kind of nerfing everything that's been super good right now, except for Sojourn, which is kind of interesting. Jake had even gone so far to say on Twitter that she shouldn't be able to headshot outside of her ultimate with the railgun. Kind of curious if that would dumpster the character, but she'd still be able to charge up on a single target halfway and then rail it in the body and burst it that way. We've got a lot more videos coming, but of course got to be careful making ones that are going to quickly be made irrelevant if a heavy-handed patch comes through. For the most part, I think these will significantly impact the higher tiers, including pro play, but the average player's metagame, I don't think noticed these changes too much, as these aren't the characters that are dominating the win rates at the end of the day. Now, a lot of content creators are pretty upset at Blizzard for kind of out and out saying that they're balancing for all tiers of the game at the same time. But I think Blizzard's got a really tricky situation here and have to be careful how they proceed. I just feel like the game is pretty wide open for most players, so I'm not too upset with the balance of the game, as long as corny play styles aren't a bit too easy to execute. And I think chain hacking a tank definitely counts as that. Let me know your thoughts on the patch changes for October 24th in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave it a like, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to actually get notified when our videos come live. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.